Khan Shalom. All praises go to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yashai, Wahar Kakudash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, Apostle Tahar, Apostle Kabar, Apostle Rokar, Apostle Ramlab, and the Shalom to all the sincere Achim that are pushing this word of sincerity and in truth. Before I continue, I want to say that the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the children of Israel that the Bible speaks about. The people that call themselves Jews in the land of Israel are not the Jews now, that are not the Jews that the Bible speaks about, but they're actually the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Esau. So they're the biblical Edomites, the descendants of the so-called red people, as the Bible calls them. Now, the people that call themselves white in the nowadays are so-called Edomites as well. And these people, basically, they want to stay away from their real identity because the scriptures identify them as the adversary, which were the Satan is basically the name for adversary in the Bible, So you have a spiritual demon, Satan, but you also have the people that Satan uses upon this planet Earth. So these videos are made to wake up our people, to bring them back to Yahweh Shem Yeshai, which is the Heavenly Father's name and His Son, and basically He's about to pass heavy judgment upon this planet Earth soon, So before we continue, I want to read this article, which goes into Bible prophecy. Belarus president blames U.S. Europe for riots in Belarus after re-election. So this is what happens when the United States or Europe have a certain invested interest. They have interest in a certain country which is close to Russia, to basically strategically be in place to have a better position making war, man, because that's the time we're in right now. They're still toppling governments as usual, It's business as usual for Esau, so that they can basically make their houses continue forever. And give me a minute to get my Bible. So let me see. This is let me read this first. It says Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko has hit out at the U.S. and allied European nations, saying they are sponsoring violent protests by opposition supporters across the country following his landslide election victory, because he's in league with Putin, and basically what they did in Bolivia is the same thing. They sponsored certain people to protest, and that's what they do. They organize protests against the government. The U.S. is planning and directing it, and the Europeans are playing along. Belta news agency quoted Lukashenko as saying Friday during a rally in Minsk, a special center has been set up near the Polish capital of Warsaw for the effort, he noted. Yeah, because this is what they do, man. They topple governments through, through funding, funding the people, and eventually they topple governments, and they go in and have their way with that country, for resources, or basically strategically being a strategic place, especially like to fight against America, because these Edomites, these white people, they're destructive. It's a destructive nation that destroys everything it comes in contact with. They're never positive. They're never building something up. They're always destroying something for their own interest. So it says, when there is unrest nearby and tanks and planes begin to move, this is no coincidence. He added, further underlining that Western states were attempting to play the Belarusian card against neighboring Russia, while referring to Belarus as the only remaining link in the West-conceived Baltic Black Sea corridor that includes 3 Baltic states, Ukraine and Belarus. Yeah, because they already busy in Ukraine as well. They already have a civil war over there as well, man. Lukashenko defeated his main opposition contender Svetlana Tikhanovskaya in the August 9th presidential poll by winning just over 80% of the vote, according to the official Central Election Commission. Rejecting the election results, Tikhanovskaya then departed Belarus for neighboring Lithuania and established a coordination council for the transition of power in Belarus amid raging protests across the country that led to violent clashes with police officers and arrest of thousands. Snubs French president's mediation offer. During his public address, Lukashenko mockingly rejected an offer by his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron to mediate between his government and the opposition by counter-offering to mediate between Macron and the iconic anti-government Yellow Vests protest movement that led to months of huge rallies against Macron's policies across France. Macron wants to mediate negotiations in Belarus. First, let me come. I'll be a mediator between the Yellow Vest and Macron, said the Belarusian leader. Lukashenko went on to slam U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's criticism of Belarus following the August 9 election, insisting that Washington should first sort out their own problems amid persisting protests against police brutality across the U.S. Exactly. Lukashenko further emphasized that the violent protests in Belarus were orchestrated outside the country in an attempt to establish a buffer zone between Russia and the rest of Europe, saying that Minsk is the last component preventing completion of the circuit. An emergency European Union summit on Belarus was held on August 19, during which leaders of 27 EU states, as well as heads of the European Commission, the European Parliament, and the European Council approved the concluding statement that says the EU does not recognize the outcome of the Belarusian election and further demands a transparent probe into police violence. The EU also plans to introduce sanctions against several Belarusian officials in the near future, according to press reports. Moreover, the US has also claimed that the Belarusian presidential poll was not in line with the standards of free democratic elections, calling on the Minsk government to actively cooperate with the opposition-led coordination council. Now, this is all not new information, but Esau is not that clever. He keeps repeating what he already does. He goes in, he he funds some people to throw stones, do this, do that. Basically make riotous conditions in the country, so that he can come and play the hero, or make sure that during that whole confusion he's doing something else, so that, this is Esau. This is a devil, man. He's the one that's behind all these countries getting toppled, US and Europe. And Europe is the lapdog of America, and they're actually getting tired of being called that, as well, because they now want to establish a European military alliance. This is Psalms 49 and 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names, and that's what they do, man. They think that they're gonna live forever, man. They think that they're never gonna go out of power. Meanwhile, the Most High already has his plans for Esau. Esau is not gonna continue longer than he's supposed to be in power. So let me get that as well. This is Job 14 and 5. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So Esau, his time is already clocked. He's already on the clock, Meanwhile, the Most High is also even going to cut his time short. So he's not going to be able to do whatever he was planning to do. Where is that? Salaka, bear with me for a minute. If it's not in Matthew 10, it should be in Matthew 24. You know? Okay. Yeah, this is it. Matthew 24 and 22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. So this is verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. So all the pieces are being placed, you know. They try to topple Belarus. They trying to topple Lebanon as well. You know, they have hyperinflation over there. And that was also a part of the plans of the elites to get Syria, Lebanon out also before they go into Iran. So Iran will be next. There's no other country actually, according to them, you know, that they still have to topple. You know. Belarus, Ukraine, you know, these are strategic places. But Lebanon is basically, you know, it doesn't really have Syria neither. It didn't really have a debt system, international banking system like these Rothschilds had in all these countries, you know. They're not indebted to these bankers as much as these other countries, you know, as you would think. You know, Syria neither. So that's why they're destabilizing Syria. You know, so these are the things that you know are basically that they're preparing before they the real world war basically breaks out. You know. So let me finish with Matthew 24. You know, Matthew 24 and 14. Verse 13, let me start at 13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. You see, so that's what we're doing, man. We're talking about wars and rumors of wars and stuff like that, man. Let me read it in verse 5. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, you know. So you're already hearing of, you know, instability in Belarus, in Lebanon as well. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows, you know. And things are actually getting unstable in the whole world, because soon there's going to be a massive famine upon this planet Earth. And this is all through the COVID, man. So they didn't just use the COVID to pass certain laws. They're also bringing, through the COVID, they're actually killing a lot of livestock and stuff like that, and causing economic crisis for the regular business owners, the jobs, and also how do you call that? Famine. They're bringing in famine as well, man. You know. So I'm not gonna make this too long, man. So with that, I want to say shalom.